What's up YouTube, this is Luke Cardwalker, and I'm super excited to share with you guys the deck that I took to locals yesterday. Just our normal local tournament, 4 rounds, went 4-0, ended up winning the whole thing. Believe it or not, was super Quants. Round 1 played against Guru Dragoons, which is a super oppressive deck if you don't have many outs to it, and Dragoon is one hell of a card, let's just put it that way. But I was able to top deck some spice in order to get over that Dragoon. The second round went up against Sky Strikers. Jose is a hell of a Sky Striker player, and if I wasn't playing unfair cards, I probably wouldn't have won. Third round went up against Swole Joel with Dinos, and you guys know Dinos are just such an impressive deck right now. Barely was able to come out with a win on that one. And then the final round was Dogma Invoked, and that deck is insanely consistent. However, I really feel that this deck is really prepared to handle that deck specifically. There are a few things I would change going forward just to counter the Dogma strategy. I didn't feel like I needed to put them in because people haven't been playing Maximus lately, but if people are starting to play Maximus, we're going to have to start throwing those cards back in. But anyway, let's get on to the deck profile, show you guys some of the spice. So, super standard, start out with our 3 white layer. Always going to stay at 3 probably. Just allows us to do anything we need. He's the most utility card in the deck. 3 copies of red layer, free summon, monster reborn, and he's a fire. Like, that comes up a lot. Probably always going to stay at 3 as well, just because of free 2000 body. 2 copies of green layer. I feel like 2 is the best unless you're playing Pot of Desires, then you want to bump that up to 3. But definitely 2 is okay. You don't want to see this all the time unless you have another super Quant in hand. And then 3 copies of our blue girl. I was trying out just 2, but the consistency wasn't really there. The theory behind that was I didn't want to rely too much on normal summons. I wanted to normal summon Alphen a lot, but you just need the consistency. And blue layer, being able to search out any card, any super Quant card, it's so necessary to keep your consistency. 3 copies of Alphen. This is our heart and soul of the deck, really. Definitely always want to try and get his effect off. If not, you're going to be severely crippled. But that's why I try to bait out Ash as much as possible before then. But it is what it is. If they do get it, you just got to keep playing. So that's all of our super Quants. Off to hand traps, 3 copies of Ash. Super standard right now. After game 1, I like to side these out because this just covers any deck that you're going to face. Every deck searches or summons from the deck or sends a card to the graveyard. Also, going with 2 Phantasme. I don't think 3 is really needed because I'm not playing Desires, and not everybody link summons, but 2 is definitely consistent enough to where I feel comfortable with it. And then rounding out the hand traps, 3 copies of Imperm. This is a pretty solid hand trap lineup. I was playing like a very hand trap heavy deck at one point, and it just wasn't working the way I wanted it to. But Imperm is really nice. Dodges Called by the Grave, Gamma, all those things. So you use this on Verte Anaconda or Ecclesia, Alistair, pretty much anything that you need to get that you need to stop. And then I am going second. It is a blind second deck, mostly because I want to try and break boards. I want to try and OTK as much as possible. So with that in mind, the spice today, triple copies of Gamma Seal. Ideally this would be Kumongous, just because Kumongous is a level 7 and that has more synergy than a level 8. But you can never go wrong with Gamma Seal because it has the lowest attack out of all the kaijus. 2 Parallel Exceed. This card is insane. Being able to just make 2 free bodies just for link summoning. Yeah, you can go into so many powerful rank 4s with this card. And I really like it. I don't think I want to pump it up to 3. I think 2 is fine. I don't want to see more than 1 copy in my hand. And at the same time, once you use its effect, the 3rd one's dead anyway. But, you know, a lot of people would disagree. They would say 3 is the best call, but I feel 2 is fine. Pankratops, one of the best going second cards ever. You can just smack over pretty much anything and then pop a card, or it can just pop something that you need off the field. And then rounding out the goo is, of course, the Dragoons package. So we got our Red Eyes Dark Magician and our Red Eyes Fusion. Shout outs to Johnny for letting me borrow the Red Eyes Black Dragon. Hashtag you're never getting it back. Off the spells, 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent. I don't think 3 is really necessary. 2 is perfectly fine for me. But this card is actually pretty insane. Being able to draw 2 more cards if you need it, or steal an opponent's monster to go into Verite Anaconda, or even just to make sure that they don't have any more hand traps in their hand. It's such a great card that allows you to really push your game. 2 copies of Twin Twisters. I don't like Cosmic Cyclone right in this deck. There's really no argument. Cosmic Cyclone is much better than Twin Twisters. But in this deck specifically, you want to be able to trigger the Super Quant effects in grave. So Twisters just allows you to get that discard, puts them in grave so you can search or Monster Reborn or whatever you need it to do. Next, got 2 copies of Called by the Grave. This card, honestly, I didn't stop any hand traps with this the whole tournament. But what it did do was stop my opponent's plays. So like when the Dogma player tried to summon out Winda, I called by the App Cologne and Winda couldn't be summoned. So things like that is what I think this card is really great about. Stopping hand traps is good and all, but being able to stop your opponent from making obnoxious plays is even better in my eyes. And then a bunch of one-ofs. Reasoning, so free in this deck because what are you going to call? Like, you'd be safest calling 1 just so Alphen doesn't hit the field, but realistically there's 7, 5, 4, 3, 1, 8, you know, so it's one of those things that more than likely it's going to resolve. E-Telly, so free. I love seeing this card in my hand. Getting the free blue layer summon so that I can search any card that I need. It's just a great extender. 1-for-1 is back in the deck. I really was wrong about this. It's such an incredible extender that you really should be playing it in a Super Quant build. Monster Reborn. This just helps extend, go into other plays, but sometimes it can help you get some really good value. So like, let's say you Gamma Seal over their Dragoons, and then you can just bring it back on your side, and you have a free negate. Mind Control, again, just trying to get as much advantage off of our opponent as much as we can. Steal their monster, turn it into Verite Anaconda, or something like that. And then Double or Nothing. This is not a brick, honestly. I do see this in my opening hand a lot, and it does piss me off, but I resolved this so much, and it won me so many games that it's the value that you get out of this package is just insane, and it's well worth playing in this. We have to play those unfair cards in order to be able to compete against the meta, and the Utopia Double package is one of those ways that we can just win. So that's the main deck. 43 cards in the main. Extra deck, obviously we got our Dragoons. I don't even know what to say about this card. This card is insane. This card almost OTKs on its own. Just being able to burn for 2 and then attack again, and it's got a negate. It's just, this card should never have been printed, but now that it's here, I don't see Konami getting rid of it anytime soon. So off to our links. Link Karibo. Normally I don't play this, but a lot of times you find that Alphen gets impermed or veilered. So going into Link Karibo, yeah, you get to protect your monster, but more so it's an easier way to get to Parallel Exceed. So Link Karibo is a lot of value for what it is. Our Verte Anaconda, so free. Just being able to make it off of our two monsters, steal opponent's monsters and make it, it's great. Hita, I find myself making this less and less. Still an incredible card. It's just, most of the time when I make this card, it's because I want them to destroy it so that I can search red layer. But when the situation arises, this can allow you to climb up into Boral Sword. Hita's so easy to link climb, but there's not too many extenders in this deck, so it is, it is what it is. So instead of this, I'd probably be putting in the Cyber Dragon Nova, Makaba, and Intis. But I mean, it's good. It's still a good package. And then BLS, off-brand Dragoons. So that's all the links and Dragoons. The rest is all XCs. So we got our double package. Then we got our Super Quants. You got Lusterex, which is our Effect Veiler. Magnaliger, which is a monster pop. He's our Drident. Ouroboros, Book of Moon, and Grand Pulse MST. Everybody should know these by now. Not playing Great Magnus, obviously. It's just it takes up too much space. It only takes up one in the extra deck and one in the main deck, but you never want to see the field spell in your opening hand. You hardly ever make Great Magnus with the way that I built it, so I just don't feel like I need it. And then some tech choices for the extra deck. Big Eye, his card is insane. You just make this, steal a monster, and then turn it into Verte Anaconda. So it's just free. It helps clear boards, it helps OTK, it does whatever you need it to. Abyss Dweller, not too much that you can say about Abyss Dweller. It still shuts down all those other decks that are super rogue. Like right now, Salamangreat. This shuts down Salamangreat. It shuts down a lot of Dinos. They can't resolve their Misk. And then the last tech choice, Lightning Chidori. Now this one is really for those Eldritch matchups or for the back row heavy matchups. So if you don't know what this does, it requires 2 level 4 wind monsters, which Parallel Exceed makes on its own, but also White Layer can make it by sending Green Layer, and it becomes a level 4 wind. Making this is super easy. And its effect is once it's Exceed summoned, you can target a set card on your opponent's field and return it to the bottom of the deck. And then once returned, you can detach and return a face-up card to the top of their deck. So it's a 2-for-1 really. It just helps you clear their board a little bit. It's really niche, but it is kind of nice to have. And then side deck, nothing really that impressive. 3 Lancia for Dinos and Dogmatica Invoked. Anything that needs to banish. Such a great card. 2 Droll Unlock for our Dogmatica matchup, and anything else that searches a lot. Droll is such a great card to have. I didn't feel like playing 3. 2 is okay. I only cited it in the one game anyway. 3rd copy of Twin Twisters, just in case we go up against more back row decks. Still a great card to have. Triple Dark Ruler No More. I really didn't play this card because I didn't face any decks that just made a bunch of monster negates, but it always finds a place in the side deck because you'll eventually face those decks that just spam out a bunch of monster negates, and this helps you out Dragoons as well. 3 evenly matched. I did side this in against the Guru player. Other than that, it really didn't end up in any of the other games. So it's still a great card to have for those rogue / back row decks that you end up facing. I would not take this out of the side, honestly. And then 3 cards that I never sided in, but it's really whatever you want to put in. This was just in case I went first, and I was facing a deck that wanted to summon more than twice. So I really, like I said, I really didn't side this in at all. I went first, I think, 1 game out of the entire tournament. So this will probably end up being something better, but probably going to end up being the artifact package with Scythe. But other than that, the deck performed insanely well. All my games were super competitive, but I really enjoyed playing for the first time in like a month or 2. So shout outs to everybody that I played against, and shout outs to the group chat for helping me get this far and making me a better player. Yeah, that being said, remember guys, have fun. May the cards be with you. Peace out.